The birthday card sat unopened on her desk when HR called her name for the third time. Jennifer Morrison didn't hear them at first because she was staring at the envelope, cream-colored, expensive paper, the kind the executive team used, and wondering why her team lead hadn't signed it yet. It was 3:47 p.m. on March 12th. She was 50 years old, and in 13 minutes she would be escorted out of the building she'd walked into 5 days a week for the past 27 years. But right now, in this moment, she was still worried about the birthday card. That's the thing about long-term employment. It rewires your brain. You spend 3 decades caring about the small things: who signs the card, whether you're invited to the lunch, if your name is spelled right on the quarterly awards. You invest so much meaning into tiny gestures that you forget to notice when the ground beneath you has already cracked wide open. Jennifer Morrison had worked at Brennan Cole Marketing for 27 years, longer than her marriage lasted, longer than her daughter had been alive. She started as a junior copywriter in 1998, back when people still said information superhighway without irony, and the office had a smoking section. She'd survived 4 mergers, 6 leadership changes, and the complete digital transformation of an industry that used to run on 3 martini lunches and gut instinct. She was good at her job. Not flashy good. Jennifer never was the type to dominate meetings or send company-wide emails celebrating her wins. But she was the person creative directors came to when a campaign was dying on the table. She could take a failing concept and find the one true thing inside it, the human truth that made people feel something. Her title was Senior Content Strategist, but her real job was being the person who understood why people buy things, why they cry at commercials, why certain words land and others don't. Her daughter Emma was 24 now, living in Portland, working for a nonprofit that Jennifer still didn't fully understand but pretended to whenever they talked. Her ex-husband remarried 5 years ago, a dental hygienist named Brenda who posted inspirational quotes on Facebook and seemed genuinely happy, which somehow made it worse. Jennifer lived alone in a 3-bedroom house in the suburbs, the kind of place that made sense when it was full of family but felt enormous and quiet now. She had a routine: coffee at 6 a.m., emails by 6:30, in the office by 8. She knew everyone's lunch orders. She watered the plants on the 3rd floor that everyone else forgot about. She was, what's the word people use? Reliable. Reliable, steady, consistent. All the words that sound like compliments until they're used to explain why you're expendable. The HR manager, a woman young enough to be her daughter, slid the severance packet across the table without making eye contact. Her name was Kelsey, and she'd been with the company for 8 months. 8 months. Jennifer had shoes older than Kelsey's tenure. The conference room smelled like the vanilla air freshener they used to cover the smell of fear and stale coffee. There was a box of tissues on the table. They always put tissues on the table. "We're restructuring the content division," Kelsey said, her voice smooth and practiced, like she'd done this before, like Jennifer wasn't a person but an item on a checklist. The decision was made to consolidate senior roles and bring in fresh perspectives that align with our new digital-first strategy. Fresh perspectives, digital-first strategy. Jennifer had been writing digital content since before Kelsey was in high school, but apparently 27 years of experience was now a liability, not an asset. "Your last day is today," Kelsey continued. "We've prepared a generous severance package, 6-month salary, continued health insurance through the end of the year, and career transition support services." Jennifer's hands were shaking. She put them in her lap so Kelsey wouldn't see. "Today? But I have the Riverside campaign presentation tomorrow. I've been working on it for 3 months. Kelsey's expression didn't change. "Marcus will take over that account." Marcus, 29 years old, called himself a growth hacker, which wasn't even a real job title. Marcus, who had never written a single piece of copy that made anyone feel anything, but who was very good at presenting other people's work in meetings with lots of hand gestures and phrases like leverage synergies and optimize engagement metrics. "I need you to sign here, here, and here," Kelsey said. pointing to highlighted tabs in the packet. Then Brad from IT will escort you to collect your personal items. We ask that you only take personal belongings, nothing proprietary. Brad from IT, a 22-year-old who Jennifer had helped train, who she'd given advice to when he was nervous about asking someone out, who would now watch her pack up her life into a cardboard box like she was a security threat. Jennifer signed the papers. Her handwriting looked wrong, shaky. This wasn't how this was supposed to go. She had a plan. Work until 62, take the full retirement package, maybe do some consulting. She'd been saving. She'd been careful. She'd done everything right. And it didn't matter. None of it mattered. The walk to her desk felt like walking through water. People looked away. They always look away. Someone had already removed her name from the directory board. Her computer was locked. IT had already revoked her access. The birthday card was still sitting there, still unopened. She left it. She fit 27 years into one box. A few photos, a coffee mug Emma made in middle school art class, a plaque from 2015 when she won the company's Excellence Award. It felt pathetic, holding your entire professional life in a box light enough to carry with one hand. Emma called that night. Jennifer almost didn't answer. "Hey, Mom, happy birthday. I sent you something. Should arrive tomorrow. How was your day?" And Jennifer did what mothers do. She lied. "It was good, honey. Really good. Quiet. You know how it is." 3 weeks later, Jennifer was still wearing the same sweatpants when her sister Rachel showed up unannounced with Thai food and zero patience for self-pity. Rachel was 4 years younger, ran her own small business doing something with e-commerce that seemed to involve a lot of Instagram posts and shipping boxes from her garage. She'd never had a traditional job in her life, which Jennifer had always quietly judged her for. Turned out Rachel was doing just fine. "Okay, no," Rachel said, pushing past Jennifer into the living room that smelled stale and looked worse. "This ends today. Right now. I'm not watching you disappear into Netflix and sadness." "I'm fine," Jennifer said, which was such an obvious lie that Rachel didn't even acknowledge it. "You're not fine. You're doing the thing where you pretend losing your job is the same as losing your value as a human being. I've seen this before. Hell, I did this before." Rachel started opening windows, letting in air and light that Jennifer had been avoiding for weeks. "You know what happened to me when I got fired from that sales job at 28? Jennifer vaguely remembered. Rachel had come home crying, convinced her life was over. "Best thing that ever happened to me," Rachel said, "and I know you think that's just something people say to make themselves feel better, but I'm going to prove to you it's actually true. You ready? Rachel, I appreciate this, but I'm 50 years old. I'm not 28. Nobody's hiring 50-year-old content strategists when they can get someone fresh out of college for half the salary." Rachel laughed. Actually laughed. "Oh my God, you really believe that, don't you? Jennifer, you have 27 years of understanding human psychology, consumer behavior, and brand storytelling. Do you know how valuable that is? Do you know how many businesses are drowning right now because they have all the digital tools and zero understanding of how to actually connect with people? Then why did they fire me?" "Because corporations are stupid," Rachel said flatly. "Because some VP got a bonus for cutting costs and some consultant told them younger is cheaper. Because businesses make terrible decisions all the time. That doesn't mean you're not valuable. It means you were valuable in the wrong place." Rachel pulled out a crumpled napkin from her purse, the same napkin their grandmother had written on 20 years ago during Rachel's own career crisis. The ink was faded, but Jennifer could still read it. 4 simple rules in their grandmother's careful handwriting. "Grandma Rose gave me this when I thought my life was over," Rachel said. "She called it the reset protocol. Said she learned it after Grandpa died and she had to figure out who she was when she wasn't somebody's wife anymore. You ready to hear it?" Jennifer took the napkin. The paper was soft from being carried around for 2 decades. "Rule 1, Rachel said. Grieve fast, decide faster. You get 1 week to feel sorry for yourself. Cry, rage, eat ice cream for breakfast, whatever you need. But after 7 days, you make a decision. Are you going to be a victim of what happened or the architect of what happens next? You don't get to be both. Jennifer had already blown past 1 week, but Rachel didn't mention it. Rule 2. Stop asking for permission to be valuable. This is the big one. You spent 27 years waiting for someone to recognize your worth, give you a promotion, invite you to the right meetings. That's over. You don't need anyone's permission anymore. You decide what you're worth. You decide what you build. You create the opportunities instead of waiting for them. It sounded good in theory. In practice, Jennifer had no idea where to start. Rule 3. Your age is an advantage, not an obstacle. Every year you've lived, every failure you've survived, every lesson you learned, that's not baggage, that's curriculum. 50 isn't over the hill. 50 is the age where you finally know enough to be dangerous. You know what doesn't work. You know what people need. You've seen trends come and go. That's wisdom, Jennifer. Wisdom is expensive. Rachel was pacing now, energized. And rule 4, this is Grandma's favorite. Build your new life before your old life finishes falling apart. Don't wait until the severance runs out. Don't wait until you feel ready. Start now. Small steps, tiny movements. Just start building. Jennifer stared at the napkin. It seemed too simple. Life-changing things were supposed to be complicated, weren't they? Rachel, I don't even know what I would build. I'm a content strategist for corporate marketing departments. That's all I know. Wrong, Rachel said. You're someone who understands why humans do what they do. Why they buy, why they believe, why they change their minds. Every small business owner in America needs that, and most of them can't afford the big agencies. You think the woman running the bakery downtown knows how to tell her story online? You think the guy who started that coffee roasting company knows why his website isn't converting? They need you. They just don't know you exist yet. Something shifted in Jennifer's chest. Not hope exactly, more like the absence of hopelessness. Here's what we're going to do, Rachel said, pulling out her laptop. We're going to break this down into the actual protocol, week by week. No vague inspiration, just concrete steps. You ready? Week 1 of the reset protocol felt like learning to walk again after a car accident. Jennifer's assignment was simple, but terrifying. Talk to 10 business owners about their biggest marketing challenges. Not to sell anything, not to solve anything, just to listen and understand what people actually needed. She started at the farmer's market on Saturday, the soap maker who'd been in business for 12 years but had no online presence because she wasn't tech-savvy. The family running the organic farm stand who posted beautiful photos on Instagram but couldn't figure out why nobody was buying. The retired teacher selling homemade jam who had more orders than she could fill but no system for managing them. Every conversation revealed the same pattern. Talented people creating valuable things with no idea how to communicate their value to the world. They didn't need fresh perspectives or digital-first strategies. They needed someone who understood human beings. By week 3, Jennifer had talked to 47 business owners. She started keeping notes. Patterns emerged. The businesses struggling most weren't struggling because of bad products or lack of talent. They were struggling because they couldn't tell their own stories. They didn't know what made them different. They were trying to sound like everyone else instead of sounding like themselves. Week 5 was when Jennifer built her first offer. Not a fancy website, not a business plan, just a simple service. A half-day intensive where she'd sit with a business owner and help them articulate their story, their difference, their reason for existing beyond just making money. She called it a brand story session. She charged $800. Rachel made her promise not to charge less. You're not a beginner, Rachel said. You have 3 decades of experience. Price accordingly. The first client was the soap maker from the farmer's market. Her name was Diana, 56 years old, making the most beautiful handcrafted soaps Jennifer had ever seen, selling them for barely above cost because she felt guilty charging more. They spent 4 hours together. Jennifer asked questions Diana had never been asked. Why did you start making soap? What do you want people to feel when they use it? What would it mean to you if this business could actually support you? By the end of the session, Diana was crying. I've been doing this for 12 years and nobody ever asked me why it mattered, she said. Everyone just wants to know my SEO strategy. Jennifer helped Diana rewrite every single product description, not as lists of ingredients, but as stories about what each soap was for. The lavender soap became for the nights when your mind won't stop spinning. The eucalyptus became for mornings when you need to remember you're capable of hard things. The rose became for when you need to be gentle with yourself. Diana's sales doubled in 3 weeks. She raised her prices. She started getting emails from customers telling her that her product descriptions made them cry, made them feel seen. Jennifer had 8 more clients by month 3. She was working more hours than she ever worked at Brennan Cole, but it felt completely different. Every client was someone she actually helped. Every project mattered. She wasn't making campaigns for companies that already had everything. She was helping people who'd poured their hearts into something find the words to share it with the world. Month 7, Jennifer hired her first subcontractor, a web designer who'd also been laid off at 52 and was struggling to find work. Then a photographer who specialized in small business branding. Then a copywriter who understood how to write for actual humans instead of algorithms. She wasn't building an agency, she was building something different. A collective of people who'd been told they were too old, too expensive, too experienced, and were now using all that experience to help other people tell true stories. The income was inconsistent at first. Some months were terrifying, but by month 10, Jennifer was matching her old salary. By month 14, she exceeded it. Not because she was working with fewer clients for more money. She just stopped undervaluing decades of understanding how humans work. 18 months after that birthday firing, Jennifer stood in her own office, a converted garage behind her house that brought in more monthly revenue than her old corporate salary. The space smelled like fresh paint and possibility. She had a team of 6 contractors, all women over 45, all bringing skills that corporations had decided were obsolete. They worked with 73 small businesses across 12 states. Not huge companies, not flashy brands, just real people making real things who needed help being seen. Emma came to visit and couldn't stop staring at the transformation. "Mom, you seem different. Lighter, maybe?" Jennifer knew what she meant. She felt different. The weight of constantly proving herself was gone. She didn't need anyone's approval anymore, didn't need to be invited to meetings or recognized at company events. She created her own recognition. Her clients sent handwritten thank you notes. Small business owners tagged her in posts celebrating their wins. That mattered more than any plaque on a wall. The weirdest part? She ran into Marcus at a coffee shop 6 months ago. He looked tired. Asked if she had any availability for freelance work because Brennan Cole lost the Riverside account and 2 other major clients. The new digital-first strategy wasn't connecting with audiences the way leadership hoped. Jennifer told him she was fully booked, but recommended another strategist. No bitterness, no satisfaction from his struggle, just clarity that she'd moved on to something that actually mattered. She never opened that birthday card, still had it somewhere in a drawer. Didn't need to. Turned out the best gift she ever got was being forced to stop waiting for permis. Sign to build the life she actually wanted. Here's what nobody tells you about getting fired after 50. The world is actually waiting for someone exactly like you, not despite your age, because of it. Every failure you survived taught you something. Every job that didn't appreciate you prepared you for the work that will. Every year you spent thinking you were falling behind was actually you gathering exactly what you'd need for what comes next. The economy doesn't need more 25-year-olds with fresh perspectives and no context. It needs people who've seen enough cycles to know what's trend and what's truth, who've made enough mistakes to spot them before they happen. who've lived through enough change to not panic when everything shifts again. Think about what you actually know, not your job title, not your credentials, what you understand about people, about systems, about why things work or don't work. That knowledge didn't disappear when you lost your job. It's still there. It's always been there. You just forgot it had value outside the structure you built it in. Rachel was right about something else too. Your age is an advantage. Not in the job market where algorithms filter you out before a human ever sees your resume, but in the real market where actual people need actual help. The woman starting a coaching business doesn't want to hire someone who just learned about marketing last semester. She wants someone who's lived enough life to understand struggle, transformation, and why people resist change even when they say they want it. The guy launching a podcast about grief after losing his wife doesn't need a social media manager who knows the latest trending audio. He needs someone who understands loss, who can help him find words for the unspeakable, who won't try to make his pain perform for an algorithm. These people exist everywhere. They're starting businesses out of necessity or passion or both. They're leaving corporate jobs to build something real. They're inheriting family businesses and trying to modernize without losing the soul. They're creating products and services that actually matter to real human beings. And they need help from people who remember what it's like to be a real human being. Here's the pattern that nobody mentions. The corporate world is optimized for youth and scale and speed. That's fine. Let them have it. But there's an entire economy underneath that structure. Millions of small businesses and solo practitioners and creators who can't afford the big agencies and wouldn't want them anyway. They need storytellers, strategists, people who can look at what they're building and help them see it clearly, help them communicate it honestly. You don't need a business plan to start. You don't need a website or a logo or business cards. You need conversations. 10 conversations with people who are building something. Ask them what's hard. Ask them where they're stuck. Ask them what they wish someone could help them with. Just listen. The pattern will emerge. You'll start seeing the same problems over and over. That's your opening. Then create one simple offer, one service, one clear outcome. Price it based on the value you deliver, not what you think someone will pay. If you solve a problem that's costing them time, stress, or money, your fee should reflect that. $800 for 4 hours of strategic clarity isn't expensive if it saves them 6 months of spinning their wheels. Start with people you can actually help. Not everyone. Not the biggest companies or the highest profile clients, just real people building real things who need what you know. Your first client might come from the farmer's market, or your neighbor who keeps talking about starting a business, or someone you meet in a Facebook group for entrepreneurs over 40. The clients who need you aren't posting job descriptions. They're struggling in silence, trying to figure it out alone, convinced they should know how to do this already. They're embarrassed to ask for help. When you show up and offer to solve a problem they've been losing sleep over, they don't care about your age or your credentials. They care that you understand them. This isn't about hustle culture or grinding yourself into dust. This is about redirecting energy you were already spending, worrying about money, sending out resumes, refreshing LinkedIn, into building something that gives you control. You're going to worry anyway. You're going to spend mental energy on your career anyway. At least point that energy towards something you own. And here's the truth they don't tell you in those corporate transition workshops. The best clients aren't corporations. They're individuals. They pay on time because it's their own money. They value your work because they see the direct impact. They don't have 17 approval layers or change management processes. They make decisions fast. They implement fast. You get to see your work actually matter instead of disappearing into some brand strategy document that never gets executed. So, here's your assignment, and it starts right now. Not Monday, not after you figure things out, but today. Open a document. Write down 10 people you could talk to about their business challenges. Not to sell them anything, just to understand what they need. Could be people you know. Could be business owners in your town. Could be people in online communities you're already part of. Reach out to 3 of them this week. Send a simple message. I'm doing some research on challenges small business owners face with marketing and storytelling. Would you be willing to have a 20-minute conversation about what's been hardest for you? Nothing to buy, just genuinely trying to understand. Most people will say yes. Humans like being asked about their struggles. It feels like someone finally cares. Have those conversations. Listen more than you talk. Take notes on the patterns. What keeps coming up? Where do you immediately see solutions they can't see? That's your skill showing up. That's your value becoming visible. After 5 conversations, you'll know more about what people actually need than most marketing consultants learn in a year of theory. After 10 conversations, you'll be ready to create an offer. Keep it simple, keep it specific, keep it focused on solving one clear problem. And here's the most important part. Stop waiting to feel ready. You're never going to feel ready. 50 years of living didn't prepare you to feel confident starting over, but it did prepare you to start anyway, to take action despite fear, to figure things out as you go. You've been doing that your whole life. Career changes, parenthood, divorce, loss. You never felt ready for any of it. You just did the next right thing. This is the same. You don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need to take the next step. Have a conversation. Create an offer. Help one person, then help another, then another. 6 months from now, you'll look back and barely recognize the person who thought it was too late. Jennifer Morrison got fired on her 50th birthday. Worst day of her life turned into the beginning of her actual life. Not because she's special, not because she had advantages or connections or some secret formula, because she decided that being undervalued in someone else's structure was worse than being uncertain in her own. You're next. You just don't know it yet.